Howdy everybody. Take a look at this SFT reg today. There's a little flat section on these, a little easy to remove. Need to remove the set screw right here. On other versions you have another set screw right about there. Get the biggest Allen there, 3/8. Pull out the top hat portion after we remove the set screw. The top hat's a single unit, and then you pull out of the bottom the spring and pop it there. And then there's a puck in the bottom. May or may not come out with some taps. This bottom section has the brass cap, the spring, and another puck that pushes on the actual brass puck. It's more like a metal plate that pushes on the brass puck. A lot of threads, comes all the way out. And there's our little system here. Then the actual regulator puck is in the bottom. Little smack, comes right out. Reg seat and seal, and that's everything in the bottom there. Let's go back up to the top, get the actual puck portion. It's right there. With a little successful digging, we can remove this guy. So we can clean out the bottom section there. There we go. Just need to make sure there's no debris in the bottom there. And give it a clean. So let's start with this top hat section. There's a 1290 at the top, taken off right now. Very stiff guy. There's a number 9 hiding up inside. This is the most difficult O-ring to figure out on this regulator. Removal is semi-difficult. Reinstall is what I would call very difficult. And a little later you will see me cut out an entire section of the video. It takes me about 10 minutes to get this thing installed. There we go. Don't think that one's ever been changed out before. There's a 17 right there. And another 17. And then we have a 15 at the top. Gonna go ahead and clean this all off. clean out the inside portion there. Try and get in all the cracks and crevices. You don't need to worry about the marks there from the set screw. Doesn't hurt the functionality at all. Keeps the top hat locked in there. Make sure though that set screw is actually good and tight. So we've got our 17s. Gonna slip past the threads, try not to chew it up. 17s on either side. And then the 9 goes in there. My strategy is to basically use the Allen to block the one side, and then use something very dull to fish it, poke it into the gland. Takes a while, takes some good light. It's definitely a process, and go slow so you don't damage the O-ring when you're getting it in there. Okay, after playing with that for forever, got the 9 installed in the top hat. Put the 003 in the brass puck there, and then we're going to also replace the O-ring on the outside of it. This is a 14 on the outside of the brass puck there. Just pick it off and put in a new one. This one looks like it's been changed recently. It's Buna as opposed to all these urethane O-rings that come stock, so looks like there was a shot at trying to fix this. So let's put that 14 on. Okay. Time for reassembling the bottom portion. Gonna get our lube out for that. There are two portions of that brass, or excuse me, there's two versions of the brass puck. It's not like you can go to Smart Parts and get replacements anymore. But if it looks a little different, that's perfectly fine as long as it's operating well. Try and keep the reg seat free of lube while you're lubricating the O-ring around it. So you kind of stack it up, thread it all in. I finish this off with the Allen. We're going to set this right about where the underside cuts in. Right about there. Should be about 200 psi. All regs are a little different, so you might want to back it out a little more. Okay, top portion needs to go back together. We have the puck, the poppet, the spring, and the top hat, and the set screw. I'll just go back in reverse order. This needs to go in with that O-ring facing up. The concave portion facing up. Need to be really careful with that surface that the poppet sets in and seals on. Kind of carefully lead it in there. You can also put the puck in and then put the O-ring in. Kind of set it around the outside, which is what I ended up doing because the O-ring fell off. Make sure we clean that surface one last time. Make sure our poppet is clean as well. That sealing surface. If that tiny little O-ring is damaged at all, you're gonna get leaks. You're gonna have problems, and whatever is embedded in that poppet is non-replaceable, so be careful. A little lube on that section there. Put the tip in, put the spring on, and then we can lube up the top hat section. Get her installed. Try not to knock everything over and ruin it. You're overcoming a little spring pressure here, so you gotta push down as well as turn. Once you get it in place, don't over tighten the top hat. To lock it in, you'll use the set screw. Just needs to be snug. And let the O-rings do their job, not the threads. For sealing, at least. Stand by. Need to get a little thread locker on this. Problem being, if you went to remove your reg or you were playing and twisted it a little bit and that was not sealed, you would have a big issue. So just a little touch on there. And then install. Wipe off the excess, let that cure. After we cleaned off all that old thread tape, we're going to put some thread locker on, thread sealant on the 90 fitting. Don't know where my small wrench is at the moment, so we're going to use the big guy. But before that, we can't forget the 15, 70, or 90 that goes on top. Big wrench. Little flats. Don't scuff the body when you do this. With the thread sealant, this doesn't need to be extremely tight. Just snug. One last thing that we need to do is rebuild the fitting here. This collar comes off. You're going to want to check for any broken tangs or tongs or whatever you call them. Pick that number 10 O-ring out of there. ADD brain closes the Loctite mid, fixing the fitting. The number 10 goes in, sits in there. Just kind of push it to the bottom and let the collar do the rest. It does need to be seated in the bottom, otherwise it can get caught in the little crown portion there. And that's it. Thanks guys for watching. If you found this helpful, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.